enjoy treating your customers like a piece of shit, because that's how I felt when I went to the Alamo Draft House. Okay? You know what? I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to text in your little crappy-ass theater. It was too f***ing dark in that place for me to find my seat, alright? I was using my phone as a flashlight to get to my f***ing seat. So excuse me for using my phone in USA, the United States of America, where you are free to text in a theater. I was not aware that I couldn't text in your theater, all right? I've texted in all the other theaters in Austin, and no one ever gave a fuck about what I was doing with my fucking phone, all right? And it was on silent. It wasn't on loud. It wasn't bothering anybody. You guys obviously were being assholes to me, and I'm sure that's what you do, you know, to rip people off. You take my money, and then you throw me out. You know, I will never be coming back to your Alamo Draft House or whatever. I'd rather go to a regular theater where people are actually polite. And, you know, I'm going to tell everyone about how you are. And I'm pretty sure you guys are being on purpose. So thanks for making me feel like a customer. Thanks for taking my money.
Phenom Radio is the home of the hottest indie music. Tune into the Phenom Radio Top 20 Countdown, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific.
A razor sharp hustle, raise your paws hustle, when the sun.
You was coming, but you been hiding behind all them friends. You just wanna play here, make so many times I played the fool and man, he'll be low. I'm too fly to be sitting here lonely, feeling for the ride, wanna put it on me. Pittsburgh. When you get inside and when I grind it, I can't deny it, feels so exciting, deeper. Is no restart.
A better job, a better home, a better life. Who hasn't wished for these things? Worked for them, and sought a place where they had a better chance of becoming real. For generations, Brockton has welcomed those seeking something better. From those who came in search of opportunity to today's multicultural population that makes us the most diverse community in all of New England. Brockton is a place where homes are more affordable, communities closer, where a strong and talented workforce fuels the success of businesses big and small, and the vision of a more diverse and equitable America is being realized every day. It's where ideas take root, businesses grow, communities thrive, new beginnings unfold, and the promise of a better life is kept. Brockton, Massachusetts, where better begins.
Time to grow up. You got a problem with your self-esteem and ego. Oh, here we go again. It's time to grow up now.
She sings when darkness falls. She hears the blackbird call. She looks beyond the walls and she's free.
Roddy, come on out from under there.
No!
Come on.
I saw a monster in the closet!
There is no such thing as monsters.
But I saw it!
Jeff, could you come up here?
Okay, pal, it's time for bed. There's no such thing as monsters.
Master Yoda I am. And listen you must to hoolazoo.com.
All right, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth, and I didn't go with any intro because I've got some major news. I got some interviews to get into. This is going to be a quick kind of 1 hour show. I got a major announcement to make during this show tonight. Something I've been working on. I know it's kind of last minute, but I feel like this is something important and I had to nail it down and make sure everything was right before I make the announcement. And I think it's something that is going to be major for the city of Brockton for years to come. Let me get into my sponsors real quick. Michael Douglas Barretto, MDB Electronics. If you have your controller needs to be fixed, you want to get it back out there, you're back to gaming in 48 hours. Deanna Marie, her music is out there. It's Personal is the latest album. She's working on the Christmas project right now, and we want to get her entire library up to 500,000 streams. She's at 494,000, so please make sure to support her music everywhere. Also, Tactical Target Systems. When you see me at the range, those are those targets that you see me out there with. Make sure to reach out to Tactical Target Systems for your zombie targets. I Love Boston Sports. They are out there. And, replying to Keith Hayes, Jamal Brathwaite, John. Oh, okay. Thank you for tagging everybody. I know there's a lot of events going on in the city right now because this election is coming up. And the announcement I'm about to make is going to be an added event that a lot of people may want to know about. So ilovebostonsports.com. This is the shirts that you see people that you have a chance to win if you're in the chat. And Vianna Marie, there she is photographed in Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography. Ladies, if you say, I can never take photos like that, Kimberly Ann will put you in a place where you do feel comfortable, where you feel great about yourself, and will allow you to take those photos. Kimberly Ann Empowerment Photography, reach out to her and book your appointment with her. New sponsor, Underwatch Protective Services, Mobile Patrol, Foot Patrol, Armed Guards, Unarmed Guards, Event Security, Private Security. Hit up Daryl Smith. Reach out to him at 1-800-315-1033. 1-800-315-1033. And there is no news booth or anything like that tonight. It's special announcement. A couple of interviews I've got coming on for you guys tonight. And I'm real happy to announce that I've got Matthew Stanton is on the show. And I've also got Bishop Tony Branch, Mr. Tony Branch. He's on the show. He's running for Ward 4 City Councilor. So what I want to do is I want to get into these interviews. Once these interviews are done, I'm going to be making the major announcement. So here we go. Let me get into the first interview with Matthew Stanton. All right, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth, and I am still here, hunkered down in the man cave, and the zombie apocalypse, as you can see behind me, is still going on, well protected. Also surviving is this guy up here in the upper left-hand corner. He's running for a seat in this upcoming election. I'm going to let him introduce himself safe and sound during this zombie apocalypse on this Halloween. Please let him know who you are, sir.
Thank you very much, Keith. I really appreciate it. Well, my name is Matthew Stanton. I am running for Ward 3 School Committee. This is my second attempt. As I am walking around the city, I introduce myself, Matthew Stanton, running for Ward 3 School Committee. I ran 2 years ago. I came in dead last. That did not stop my mission. I pretended I did something a little different. I pretended like I did not lose. I do not have a seat at the school committee table, but I am in that building every school committee meeting, subcommittee meeting. I go to the city council meeting, finance committee. Wherever the word school is on an agenda, I am there. I have my notebook. I take my notes. When the school committee votes, I write down how I would have voted. When they have people that are coming before them that they can ask questions of, I write down the questions that I would have asked. Very involved. We have a 13. It'll be 14. Actually, I'm sorry. It'll be 14 tomorrow. So happy birthday to Dominic. The reason I ran 2 years ago was all about his education. He was in the two-way program at the George School, great school, and he is of Hispanic background. The only person that speaks Spanish fluently in his life is his papa, who lives in Guatemala half the year. So it really wasn't catching with him. And we'd have meetings with everybody, and oh no, he's okay. And I'm taking him home every day. I know he's not okay. And then Desi did the report on the district. And when that came out and I read it, and I read the strengths, weaknesses of the district, it kind of clicked with me. I was like, geez, I wasn't crazy all that time. It really was a struggle. There really was, things that were missing or could have been done better, or different, should I say. So I jumped in last minute 2 years ago. And like I said, came in dead last, but unlike, others, I stayed. I continued going to every school committee meeting. And like I said, taking notes, just being involved, seeing what I could bring to the table, talking with the school committee members. I think I have a, pretty good relationship with each one of them. I know it will look differently come January for a few seats. But I think I could work well with them. And I'm open to any ideas. It takes a village, really. It takes a community and a communication to solve problems. No one person has the answer. With me, you're not necessarily going to get a yes right away, a no right away, but we'll talk how we can do things together. Fiscally, how programs work, if they're not working. We have so many schools in the city. Something might be working at, say, South Junior High that might not be working. Same program or same concept might not be working at, say, West Junior High, West Middle School. I apologize. Mm-hmm. I'm dating myself a little. But we got to come together. We got to bring those together more a little, I think, and see where we can plug something in that's working at South, at West, or at East, or the elementary school levels. Come together. I'm all about coming together.
And I'm going to ask you this question because there's a reason why I asked this question. I'll explain to you afterwards. Please explain to people Ward 3 and what area Ward 3 contains for the city of Brockton.
Ward 3 is a very strange ward. It's a very strange ward. I'm down here off of Warren Ave. I live on Traboo Street. And it kind of starts around there, goes down towards the Huntington School, kind of copes around. There's a little of Copeland Street on there. Then it goes up West Chestnut, and then it goes up Pearl Street. So we got the Huntington, we got the high school, we got South Middle. There's a lot going on. It's a strangely drawn ward, in my opinion.
And one of the reasons why I asked this, and people know, I've been involved with politics for a long time. I moved to Brockton in '78. I started holding signs for the Studensky family years ago when I was in junior high. And that was here on the east side. And the Spillanes. I started helping out with the Spillane family here on the east side many years ago. And politics always intrigued me. One of the things when I started to get my format is I like to ask people if they're running for a ward. I like to pop that question and say, okay, what ward are you representing and where's that ward lie? And I've had people come on this show and not know their ward. And for me, that's like, okay, how am I supposed to trust you if you don't even know the ward that I'm supposed to entrust you with? Yep. And that's why I asked that.
Oh, and you should.
And there's some people that's a simple question to answer.
Yep.
And I'm glad that you're able to you know your area, you know what you're representing.
I have a list. I mean, I have, like I said, I apologize. Like I said, I've been pretty much on this trail for a couple of years now. I know pretty much all the schools. I have them all written down, citywide, because there are residents of Ward 3 that their children go to school in, other wards. They may not you know, they may go to school in Ward 7, but contact, you know, live in Ward 3, so they don't know who to contact. You know, you got to know all that stuff.
And Ward 3's actually lost a couple of schools. One of the schools they lost is because of where the new first responders building is going in that area, correct? So you've lost that school that was being used there on the corner, correct? If I'm not mistaken, were they still using that as a school?
Are you talking the old high school?
Yes. Were they still using that as a school?
Ward 3. That's not Ward 3.
Okay.
No, I believe that's 2.
That's going to be in 2, and then on the backside of that, behind the gas station, that was a school, and they're making that an elderly home. So if you cross Spring Street and go over Warren Ave,
yep,
and that was a school too, and I believe they've lost that. That's going to like elderly housing. That's a different ward also, correct?
Yes, and
that's just on the outskirts.
You look at Ward 3, like I mentioned, the Huntington School. The Huntington School is not in session right now. There's nothing in there right now.
Right.
I served on the Huntington School Roof Replacement Committee a couple of years ago. Did a great job on the roof, but then it got shut down. The hope is to renovate it and maybe bring some preschool in there, or you know, possibly use it again as an alternative school.
Right.
There's some different things in play depending on, you know, what they want to do in the end, because pre-K, there was some questions with as far as pre-K, because that school, pre-K, you need some different things. You know, you'd have to retrofit for smaller children.
Right.
Because I mean, the Huntington it's a jewel in the city. It's, my God, it's one of the oldest schools, probably the oldest school in the city. And there would have to be some work done to put pre-K in there full time. But you know, hopefully we can get that done.
I drive around the city and I see all this pre-kindergarten early, and these kids are all starting super early now for kindergarten now, and I'm like, wow, this is insane how times have changed. While I got you on here and you're running for Ward 3, and you know, I know everybody's beating a dead horse about this budget issue. And look, the budget stuff is being worked out. They're having the weekly meetings. I don't want to have you on here to kind of beat up this whole thing with the budget. I kind of feel like, because I've been involved with the MBTA and I work up at Logan Airport now for Massport and Paul Revere, I know a lot about budgets. I know that there was nothing malicious really done. We're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't want to beat up that whole story with you right now.
Yep.
My concern with you right now, and speaking from the school committee sense, if you were to get in there, my concern right now, it's not about the budget. It's about the safety of the children. I saw the videos of this massive brawl that I'm not happy that the Enterprise downplayed it. First of all, you had an early release on Friday because this brawl was so bad, number one, which led to the early release. Number two, what I don't like, and I don't even have kids in the school no more, and here's what I don't like. I don't like the fact that I go on social media, on Facebook and stuff, right? And this is what you see. Everybody who works in the school department, and everybody's being tight-lipped and not saying nothing. But there is a huge parent base out there who have kids who are good kids. And they're on social media, and I hate to say this, we didn't have social media before. But what we're seeing on social media is we're seeing a lot of parents say, well, my kid knew about this 8 months ago, or my kid knew about this 4 months ago, or my kid knew about this because this happened in his class, or my kid. If these kids are going home and telling their parents about it, first of all, parents, if your kids are coming home and telling you about this, okay, I get it. You want to vent and put it on social media. But here's a thing that some of you all don't do either. Show up to the meetings. First and foremost, I want you to explain this to the people. Show up to the meetings. Because going on social media and venting about the school, but not showing up at the meetings and saying this, it doesn't help anybody. I get it. You're venting as a parent, number one. Number two, I saw a couple of parents sharing the videos from their kids, and then I looked at it and I was like, well, damn, if that was my kid's getting messed up.
That phone would be gone. That phone would be gone.
My kid is gone for not helping. Yep. My kid's gone because he's vaping. Because one video, the kid turns the camera towards him and he's vaping in the halls of Brockton High. And I'm like, okay, whose kid is that? because he's coming home to some explaining. So I feel like this violence in the school right now, I feel like that's the bigger issue. This budget thing, we can work on that. We've got people work. I feel like the violence thing is the bigger issue.
I totally agree with you, Keith. And I believe the article came out today in the Enterprise about the results of the meeting that they had. And one of the outcomes was that they were going to look into hiring security to come in and man the hallways and the doors, I believe, bathroom areas. And to be honest, that's kind of, I read that and it really didn't make me that happy, because part of my career, I worked for the Boston Globe as an circulation auditor. I also ran a couple of after-school programs in neighboring towns. And for the past 27 years, I've done private security on the side, from local, bar rooms, nightclubs back in the day to, international events. But I know how kind of private security works. So I think they really, really have to do a real deep dive, because some of the security firms that you work with, are they going to come in and when a fight breaks out in a high school, how are they going to react? In 27 years, Keith, working in private security, I can think of maybe 2 instances where I had to use something other than words to diffuse a situation. And nowadays, my worry is, after seeing that video, if there were security in there and they're not trained as properly as maybe they should be, or for the circumstances, you're in a high school with minors.
You're dealing with kids. Yeah. You're talking lawsuit issues now.
Yeah. Lawsuit issues, stuff like that. So I would want to be looking at, to make sure that whatever security firm is hired is really, really vetted and into, talking more, with the emotional needs. I know obviously there's a fight going on. You want to stop it immediately, but you got to make sure that they're not going to hurt kids in the process.
And I hate to say this, and I saw this fight, and the first thing I said, well, first of all, if you got to get security in there, I'm going to tell you right now, kids are getting their hands zip tied. And you could be a parent and be mad because I zip tied your kid, but if your kid's involved with a brawl and almost knocking somebody down the stairs while fighting, if I break these 2 kids up, they're getting their hands zip tied, and they're going to sit in the corner until they can be disciplined at the disciplinarian's office. Because that's what's going to happen. Because right now, when I saw that, you had teachers that didn't know how to handle that. It was a scary situation. It was real scary, and tough times come for tough tactics. It was very scary to watch.
I saw those 2 kids
when I seen
go
the kids
the stairs, and I was worried that one of them, could break their back. Or something like that.
And I hate to say this, you know what it reminded me of? You know what it actually reminded me of? It reminded me of season 4 of effing Cobra Kai, when they had the school brawl in Cobra Kai. And remember the security, and hold on, and remember the security guy that was hired off the street wasn't vetted, and he ends up in the fight with the kids.
Yep. It's a very, very serious issue. And you know what? It goes beyond the high school.
It does. It does. It starts in the home.
In middle school. And I call it, the Dominic report. I get the Dominic report every day. The last thing I say to him before he gets out of the car in the morning is, I love you. Have a great day at school. Learn a bunch of stuff. First thing I say to him when he gets in the car after school is, how was school today? What did you learn? And, he tells me what he learns, but he also gives me the report, the lowdown. What happened at school today? If there was a fight, if, class was disrupted by 3 or 4 kids. It's a problem, not just at the high school.
It is. And you're right. My stepson was involved with one of the charter schools, and he used to come home miserable because he said there was a group of kids who disrupted the class day after day after day after day. And then one day my stepson got upset and he lashed out, and then I get the call. And they were like, well, he did this. He kicked the chair out from under this student, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I said, we've been here for the last 4 weeks complaining because he's complained that they've been disrupting the class every
He's
week.
missing time.
And nobody does anything. And then, eventually a child becomes like an adult. You kind of get tired. Yeah, he was wrong. And I told him he was wrong by acting out, but I could understand. And, you go to school to learn. But again, like I said, part of this also begins in the home. We've kind of gotten away from parents being parents. Like I've said to a couple of teachers, I said, it bugs me when you see some parents, they can spend a half hour learning dances on TikTok with their kid, but they can't spend a half hour doing homework with their kid. And I said, and that's the problem with a certain part of society today. We've got parents that aren't parents. They're first and foremost friends with their kids. I don't know how many times I've heard from somebody, you got to pick your battles. Pick what battles? pick. You're the parent. There's no battles to pick.
Keith, I was thinking today back to like probably times we were growing up, the neighborhoods. Like in the neighborhood I live in, we're friends with the people across the street, people next door. The people across the street have younger kids still in the school system, but over the past decade, the people next door, when their kids growing up, if they needed to be walked to school or picked up off the bus, that's what we did for each other. And back in the day, I was thinking about it. I said, all our neighbors knew what day report card day was. So if my parents weren't home, I would have neighbors asking, let's see the report card, before my parents might have even seen it. And you're right, that is missing today. And we need to get back to that in the communities, in the neighborhoods. I tell everybody I see, get to know your neighbors, get to know their situations. You might be able to help them. They might be able to help you. If there are children involved, be as involved as you can. If there's a basketball hoop, spend 10 minutes playing hoops. I'm no good, but I'm down South Middle, once a week, once every couple of weeks shooting around, and it's fun.
Well, we got Matt Stanton on here. He's running for Ward 3 School Committee. It's been a great interview, but again, if you get in, what is the first thing that you wish to address? And like I said, we've been beating up this budget for months.
Yeah.
What is the first thing you wish to address?
One of the first things, and it may not seem like much, but I've been working on it for a while. Keith, I've made relationships everywhere. My wife and I have been blessed to visit through Central America, a little bit of Europe, the Leeward Islands. We don't go and it's a beach vacation. We go around, we visit museums, we visit schools. I've made partnerships with, educators around the world, but close to home. I've had 2 meetings with the director of the Brockton Public Libraries. One of the first things I would like to bring up, possibly, and it probably wouldn't take place until next year, but when the beginning of the school year,
oh, his sound kicked out. I can't hear you.
And so the kids feel better. I know mine, our student does, when they own something, when they have something with their name on it, they have something. And the second part of it, which I haven't had the chance to meet with yet, is the Bat Bus Company. So, we have branches. The main branch of the library is fantastic. The West Branch, there's the East Branch. I don't know if you've been into I was recently in a school library, and it didn't look so great. It really didn't. It looked dated. And I know that there are things, the library will work and kids can get books, but I remember my childhood going to the library, and kids in high school, if they're looking to get into a certain field, the main library has so many assets, so many that you can look up anything there, and they can get into a whole new world, and they're off the street.
And their online is phenomenal. Their online access is phenomenal.
But so they can get a library card, and I talked to the library director. He said it is feasible. So when the parents are signing up, hold on.
But here's the thing that aggravates me when you say that. That was the type of stuff that you did through the school every year, no matter what. if you went to your school freshman year and you knew you were going to need books for the book report, the school took that field trip to the library and everybody got their cards. It wasn't up to people to do that on their own. The school took you there and did that. Now, I remember when I moved to Brockton in 78, every side of town had its own library, its own pool. Each side had its own thing. And then as budgets became restricted, things closed up. The main library is a beautiful place. Old Colony Library Network, I'll tell you right now, I'm a DJ, and I benefit from it being a DJ because they have a whole library of music there that I can download and put into my library if needed, because they've got some old music. But again, that Old Colony Library Network online is amazing. You get access to free magazines and all these different books. All Brockton High, all these schools have to do is in study hall, make that where kids, you'll get them on the Old Colony Library Network in study hall and have them sign up and get their membership to the library there. And you could start sign up your books there and then they can visit.
I would like to, the reason I say it is, and I the second part was working with the BAT bus because I know there are, families that might not have the means or, a car or hours to get to the library. That if a student wants to travel to the library, that they would be able to get a pass, a BAT bus pass, for them, for their parents, to travel to the library, the closest library to them or the main branch, just to kind of, it's more of a community thing. I know it sounds small, and currently I believe they do. If a child wants a book from the library, they have access to it. But just that library card, I know, I remember when I got mine, probably 5 years old. It was something,
it meant
my
something.
name on it.
It meant something.
And it's something that, parents could be involved with as well. The library also throws
some great events. They've had some great speakers and they've had some great writers and people come to this city.
I was at a concert there. Was it this past weekend? Yeah, I think it was this past weekend or the weekend before. I had tears in my eyes. They were so good. They were so good. Oh my God. It was fantastic.
I like that. And I like where you're headed. So again, Matthew Stanton, Ward 3. Please tell people how they can follow your cause.
Well, it's on Facebook. It's elect Matthew Stanton, Ward 3 School Committee, I believe. I have my own personal page, Matt Stanton. My address is 160 Traboo Street. I'm not afraid to give it out. I always say my door is always open. It is getting a little colder, so it might be locked. You might have to knock, but there is always somebody here. My phone number is 508-513-5764. I serve on the as a trustee for the War Memorial Building. I am the chairperson for the Beautification Committee. And those are also things that I would like to see happen in regards to like the high school level kids, like almost like junior boards and commissions. We have so many commissions, boards, and organizations throughout this city that if we get them more involved as well, I think we're helping the kids, we're helping the parents, we're helping the community.
And it's great stuff, and I'm glad to have you on here. Matt Stanton, again, he is running for Ward 3 School Committee. November 7th, people. Get your butts out there.
My name,
we don't want 8%.
Yeah, we need it higher than that. There's no incumbent running for this, so it will be listed alphabetical. My name will appear second on the ballot. Let's see, what else? I want to thank you, Keith. You do a great show. It's always very informative, and it comes from a place of realness. You're real. You're not in this to. I mean, it would be nice to make $1 million bucks.
I try. I have a lot of people that come to me. I had a lot of people. I really didn't realize the reach that this show and I have until this whole incident went down with the school department on that night. And, I had some people come for me. And I'm like, I did everything professional, number one. Number two, I never put any names out there. Number three, I never confirmed anything. I said the only thing that was confirmed was that the press was there at Brockton High. Everything else I said was unconfirmed. I had some people saying, well, you still did this. And I'm like, nope. I says, if you want to say that I did this, I says, unconfirmed means unconfirmed. That means It's a rumor. That means it's not true. That means this is what we're hearing. But like I said, when I talked about it on this show, you know, I had started getting information at 11 o'clock in the morning. People were already in my inbox at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I held that gem until 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it started getting to the point where the people who were contacting me were at certain levels where I'm like, I can't ignore this. This information has to be put out there. How can I put it out and not get myself sued? Because at the end of the day, you could be sued. And I saw another podcaster who was out there and he was a ton of misinformation. He actually showed up at a city council event and put his hands on a city council member. I'm not about that. I'm about the professionalism.
It was insane that evening. Yeah. I saw you up there. I had stayed away. There were a lot of people that were running for office up there, and they were swarming around the news. And I got about as far away from it as possible. I have, like I said, I work for the Boston Globe. I have contacts there. I have some contacts that I know in law enforcement. So I knew it was all, you know, everything that was going on and being set up there was, you know, just utterly false.
It was crazy.
It
was crazy, and the news and the people that was just even the people that were giving the info, you know, were trustworthy. But when I asked them, I said, "Well, can you confirm that?" You know, because everybody that hit me up, I'm like, "Well, can you confirm that?" Well, no. Okay, well, I'm not putting it out there if you're not going to confirm it, because I'm not committing career suicide in the city of Brockton. But you know, if you're not going to confirm this information,
to speak to you, all right. I was up there that night. You were up there that night. I was on the phone with my wife, and she said to me, she was watching you. And
I was getting roasted because I kept shutting the mic off.
She said, I just heard you. Wait a second. I just heard you on the booth. I was like, and I turned around.
It was funny because I was getting roasted on the live because people were pissed because they're like, he keeps shutting his mic off. And somebody said, he's shutting his mic off because there are people who are talking to him who don't want their stuff to go out over the air. And somebody said, well, that's not reporting. He should leave his mic on. And I'm like, if somebody comes up to you and says,
news cycle we live in.
Can you turn that mic off and I'll speak with you? If they tell you that, you gotta turn that mic off. You can't leave a hot mic and let somebody speak and then have them commit career suicide, because that's a lawsuit. I ain't about a lawsuit for somebody that don't know anything about it. You worked at the Globe, you know. You know, hot mics and dot your I's and cross your T's.
That's right.
So I'm glad to have you on, Matt. Again, November 7th is the election. Everybody, please, like I said, 8% is nothing to be proud about, Brockton. We're a city now, not an effing town.
Yep.
We're a city.
Get out.
We should be putting up double digits for the vote. And you know, I'm tired of all these excuses. You have early voting going on right now at the Shaw Center. There's no reason. Get out there and vote. There are a lot of groups out there who are taking the elderly. If you need a ride, go out there, reach out. I believe BatBus now has this. It's called BatBus on Demand. It's like a Dial-A-Bat on demand. So if you're trying to vote, I believe you can reach out to Dial-A-Bat, and they'll come on demand and get you to the voting polls. And a lot of politicians are helping. Yeah. So
it is.
Thank
it's
you.
Embarrassing.
It is. And like I said, the 8%, yeah, it was a little bit higher, but it's nothing to be bragging about.
No.
It's nothing to be bragging about, especially with the issues that we have going on right now within our schools. And I feel like there's still big changes coming to Brockton. And there's still a lot of stuff that we need to deal with people in this city. I commute to Boston every day by train. Today the train was already full at Brockton. Why is it full at Brockton? Because we've got a lot of people moving to Brockton because Boston is becoming too high. Yeah. And they're moving their families here. And as Matt's going to try to get on this school committee, they're going to have to address where we're going to be as far as that school census goes. As more people move out of Boston and South Boston and Dorchester to Brockton and take this commuter rail train that's right here outside their door. It's definitely something to think about. So, Matt, I want to commend you and thank you for coming on the show.
Keith, I thank you for having me. This is like a dream come true.
A lot of people have been wanting to come on the show. I know I gotta get Tony Rodriguez. He's got to come on the show. Tony Branch reached out to me. I'm gonna do an interview with him. But like I said, I've got something that I'm working on behind the scenes that I think is gonna blow the roof off this voting thing for Brockton. I think
if you're doing it, there's no doubt.
So we'll see what's going to happen. And I want to thank you for coming on, sir.
Thank you, Keith. Thank you.
All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to be back here with more Booth after this. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, we're back here in the booth, and my second interview, I want to thank Mr. Matt Stanton for coming on the show. And our second interview of the night is going to be Mr. Tony Branch. As I said, he's running for Ward 4 City Councilor. Let me get Mr. Branch on here and his interview, and then after Mr. Branch is the big announcement. So here we go. Mr. Branch, let it roll. All right, it's your boy Sinista1 broadcasting live from the City of Champions. You are watching The Booth. It is still that time of year, Halloween, the day after. Actually, it's the day after Halloween. Let's be real here. It's actually the day after Halloween. I'm still holed up in the zombie apocalypse, and I'm holding it down. I'm safe and sound. As you can see behind me, they got it locked down. Yeah. Another person who's doing very well in the zombie apocalypse right now is my man who is running for Ward 4 City Council, Mr. Tony Branch. Say hello to everybody, man.
Well, hello to your followers out there. Hello to all those that are participating. And I'm looking at that fence back there, and it looks like somebody. It looks like somebody's about to get in. So we should do this fairly quickly. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me this evening.
This is Mr. Branch's first time on the booth. As you guys know, next Tuesday is election. I've been running the gauntlet. Matt Stanton was just on before Mr. Branch. Matt Stanton is running for school committee, Ward 3. This is a very big election season here. This is a mayor vote this year. We've now rounded out to Mr. Fred Fontaine. He is the challenger to the re-election of Mr. Bob Sullivan, and he is it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to make up those votes that we saw the margin in the prelims. And Mr. Sullivan, had a big lead over him. And my main thing is, I talked about this with Mr. Stanton. And I'm going to open up with this with Mr. Branch, because Mr. Branch is very involved with politics. He's been involved with school committees and things and sort. And one of the things that I'm pushing and promoting is, we as a community, we need to get out and get these numbers up, and we need to vote better, people. 8% in the prelims, 8% is nothing to be happy about. This is Brockton's a city, and there's a lot of things decided by your census and by your residents, and we need people to come out and vote. So I want you real quick to just, before we talk about what you're on here for and what you want to do as city council, I want you to just let people know. November 7th is a big day. It's time to hear your voice. But we need more than 8% from the city, and we need more than that 2 to 4% from the black minority community. Not just the black community, but the minority community, which means the Guatemalans, the Haitians. We need more than that 2 to 4%.
All of us, from the black and the brown.
That is. Go for it.
So it's very important. And, we've been fighting. I've been a civil rights leader for now going on 35 years. And we've been fighting this good fight around making sure that there's voter participation. And, one of the things about voter apathy here in the city of Brockton is that people feel that nothing has ever changed. So they don't want to participate. And what I've told them in door knocking, what I've told them in other campaigns is that the reason why things aren't changing is because the privileged understand that you're not going to get out and vote. So in actuality, it's the opposite effect. They need to get out and vote in order to make change. We were just talking at a forum around, the $55 million for the fairground. But how many of our residents participated in the public hearing to give public comments around the purchase of the fairground? We must participate in this process. One of the things that you've seen probably in some of the literature that I put out, I've gone back and I've talked about the fact that we've died for the right to vote. So we have a unique responsibility to make sure that we get out the polls on November 7th and every other election thereafter, because it has impacted, quite frankly, our families.
I gotta ask you to just kind of slide over to your right for me, please. There we go. The zombie hands were trying to grab you. I didn't want the zombie hands to grab you up. And you were covering your face. And
Thank you for censoring me.
Yeah, no problem. One of the reasons why I need people to come out here and vote, and the reason why people need to have a voice, and I'll give people a great example. Many years ago, when Bill Carpenter was here, and Bill Carpenter just became mayor, and the Mary Baker site was supposed to be the site of a cell phone tower for T-Mobile. And in order for that to get passed, the Brockton Junior Boxers League, which we had like 8 leagues, each squad had 32 kids, and you just do the math at how many parents and how many kids and how many people that is. T-Mobile was going to come here and put this cell phone tower. We just needed the people to show up at City Hall.
That's all.
And say, look, we support this cell tower, and they were going to take whatever money they made from having that cell tower on the Mary Baker Field property. They were going to put a new field, fix the field that they were having drainage problems with. They were going to put stands. They were going to put a whole 50-yard line media booth and everything. Nobody showed up, as usual, in the community. Nobody showed up in the community. Brockton Hospital got the cell tower instead. And guess what? The cell tower went 5 feet away on the other side of the fence on Brockton Hospital's property, and Brockton Hospital ended up making that money. Right. And the city, once again, is still begging and dying for fields because people didn't show up to support that. And that's part of the problem. You know, everybody wants to talk in the barber shop. Everybody wants to talk in the line at Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody wants to talk in Cumberland Farms. But when it comes time to pull up to the school and get out your car and get your vote sticker, you know, they're not doing that. So, you know.
You're absolutely right.
And that's something we definitely need to change, and that's something we need to do. So you're running for Ward 4 City Councilor. And please let people know what ward that is that you are representing. I like to make sure people know what constituent base is who you're supporting.
So let's talk a little bit about Ward 4. One of the things that I've done in this campaign is really make it easy to describe not only the demographics, but the geography around 4. It's very simple. Forest Avenue, where Main begins, all the way to Kmart. It's literally that simple. And with respect to the demographics, it's 64.6% BIPOC, people that look like you and I. We have been unsuccessful with respect to the capturing the city council seat because, to your point, we are not voting, and a small portion of individuals that are coming out to vote keep people in that particular office. So we're looking to make change, and we think change is on the horizon from all the door knocking on the communications that I'm doing. The issues, I know you're probably going to ask me, the issues that we're facing, and the number one conversation is really, around the schools, around the $14 million. And then the second portions of the conversations, how do we pay for $55 million for the fairgrounds when we are just laid off teachers, paraprofessionals, and have disinvested in youth programs in the city. The third conversation is really around how the vacant lots have rodents and are overrun, and that a lot of these lots are owned by developers that don't live in the city of Brockton. And then what's close to that, very, very close, is pedestrian safety. We don't want grandmothers and children to be hit while crossing the street. So there's a lot of there are a lot of concerns that have been raised. And what people have said, who's listening to us? I'm knocking on doors and they don't know who the current councilor is. That's a problem. So listen, I'm out here, as you know, I'm on a regional school committee, but I primarily have been doing civil rights for the last 3 decades. I primarily have been doing a lot of community advocacy and activism because that's my calling. That's my, that's my DNA. And again, when I've explained to folks, I got involved with community activism when Tiffany Moore died in Humboldt Avenue in Roxbury in the 80s. And, from being a homeless teen to becoming a community activist and then to finally rising to the Southeastern Region School Committee, I see myself as a success. But we have issues that need to be addressed. And quite frankly, Keith, we can't wait 2 more years.
Yeah, and everybody in each ward has their issues, and like I said, I just had Matt Stanton on, which you all saw earlier. I didn't want to beat the dead horse up and bring up the Brockton High school issue with the 14. Yeah. I feel like that's being beat up. I feel like it's being it's being taken care of right now. The auditors are doing what they need to do. The transparency is going to be there. I'm not even bringing it up. I don't even want to. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to let the auditors finish up and let's get closure on this. My big thing when I have Matt Stanton on, I'm going to ask you. My big thing right now is the safety of the students at Brockton High, which is I feel like is not just a school committee issue. That's also a city council issue.
It is.
Because what went on, and I know they had a meeting on this, but what I saw from student cell phones from what happened last Friday that led to an early release was scary. Right. It was out and out, bottom line, scary. And both my kids are grown. They've graduated from school. But I sat there and I said, damn, if I had a kid that goes to Brockton High, I'm in fear. So, I'd like to know your thoughts on this because first and foremost, at the end of the day, we can talk about where this 14 mil, we could talk about this money at the fairgrounds, but now all of a sudden, my thing is, no, let's talk about these kids because the last thing we want is to have a kid die in Brockton High because let's be honest, let's be real honest here. We've been close. We had a stabbing. We've had several fights. We had this big brawl on Friday. We don't want to be that school to have that tragedy. What do we need to do to address that?
So I've done anti-gun violence with respect to young adults for several years. And one of the things that sticks out in my mind is that, first of all, we don't talk about it in terms of seasons. And when I say seasons, that we know that spikes happen during the summer because of lack of after-school programs, athletics, and the second piece is summer jobs. So we know what the white papers say, that if we're doing that, we're successful during the summer. But while they're in school, this is a different atmosphere that is happening. One of the things that I've said that we definitely have to have the text alerts. But now people are going to say, well, that means we have to give them their cell phones. You may have to do that. Text alerts notifying administration that there's a potential issue has to happen. We have to have that communication mechanism. When you talk to young adults, especially I'm at Southeastern, but you talk to any of these students, they immediately say, we knew it was going to happen, but we didn't report it. And people need to listen to that. None of these brawls are, I'm being respectful, but a lot of times are planned. They're planned for TikTok likes. They're planned for, their other one? What's the Instagram?
Snapchat,
I know I'm giving away my
Instagram.
age.
Yep.
I'm giving away my age. But so these things are planned, as was the Kmart. When people broke into they drove that van. Everybody, all the young adults knew that was coming down. So what we want to do is make sure that we give them a mechanism to communicate events that are about to happen. One of the other things that I've said is that the kids are feeling unsafe. So I'm not sure what we can do beyond the metal detectors, other than to say this. We've done a very poor job, Keith, and you know this, in teaching our children de-escalation. We know that, mental health providers have said that for years. We have to teach young adults de-escalation techniques so it doesn't end up into an act of violence, whether it be go ahead.
No. And here's where I got to stop you. And this is where I know some people don't like me because sometimes I refer to us as the black community as part of the small problem for some of these. And sometimes we are our own worst enemies, especially when it comes to de-escalation, because I've been in stores in situations with people are with their kids and they're in the wrong, but they don't de-escalate. And I just saw this in a Walgreens last week where a woman was told that she couldn't bring items into the bathroom. Right. She was there with like her 5-year-old daughter. Yep. And she got ignorant and she was talking about, well, I'll take you outside, I'll punch you in the. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, this is how your daughter is going to be when she grows up.
That's the example.
Because this is the example that you're teaching. And it's not just
right.
We see it on social media. We see it all the time where there has to also be parental. We got to start holding parents accountable for
So
their
now I've
actions.
said that, and I've gotten in trouble. So one of the things that I've said in looking at some issues in other districts is that I'm unsure why we are so politically correct that we are not holding parents accountable for the acts of their children. It starts at home. And one of the things that used to happen based upon, and I'm going to say this, based upon some liberal policies, people were saying, well, no, it's because they're coming from a broken home. That's a bunch of how does Biden say malarkey? So yeah, they may be coming from broken homes, but you and I both know wrong from right. And when you bring these kids into a classroom or into private counseling, they will tell you that they knew that they were wrong, but they just lack the ability to stop whatever is about to happen. And so, but to your point, I've talked about why aren't we holding parents accountable? I think we need to begin that. So if little Johnny, or okay, I don't want people to say, well, here go Tony was being, little Johnny. Okay, or Rashad,
right? Malik,
come on, kid, can I be real here? If they bring a knife, we should be calling the parents up and asking them, what's going on at home. One of the things that happened when I was working on anti-gun violence is that parents were telling me that they don't enter their children's bedroom. They don't open drawers. Stop. But this is true. So they don't enter into the bedrooms and they don't open, because we were talking about guns and weapons. And I says, well, why aren't you checking the drawers and stuff like that? And they said, oh no, that's their own privacy. We got to get it in our heads that no, your child doesn't have privacy in your own home. So right. I was a part of renewing that campaign that we used to see. It's 10 o'clock, and I was going to do this for Brockton. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your child is? Not the Brockton police, not the superintendent the next day, not the teacher, but you are responsible for your child. And so even right 9:33, who's going to know where their child is at 10 o'clock at night?
Here's the sad thing, Mr. Branch. I know there's a lot of parents out there who are going to say, well, why are you asking? It's none of your business. Trust me, because I've gone through this. For a little time here, I had a stepdaughter. She was attending West Junior High, West Middle School, a stepdaughter. And she had her little iPhone. She was 14 years old. And, her iPhone would upload every time she came home from school because her mother and me, we had her passwords. We had all that stuff. And she was taking her butt over to Macy's and taking pictures and putting them on Instagram and Snapchat like she's some type of an adult in these sexy clothing. She got caught. One of the things that we've realized that she was doing was that she was going to the bathroom all the time because she was getting her Snapchat streaks boosted. So I called the school. And I'll never forget the call. I called West Middle School. I spoke with the woman there, and I told her, hey, I said, if my stepdaughter asks to go to the bathroom, she's denied unless it's this. And she's like, well, Mr. Hazers, this is this. I said, I'm just letting you know, this is what's going on. I said, do you have a lot of students going to the bathroom there? She goes, oh, Mr. Hayes. She's like, yeah, we got kids going to the bathroom almost every 5 to 10 minutes. She goes, I swear these kids must have the smallest bladders. I said, they're getting their Snapchats up.
Bladders. Yeah.
She's like, what you talking about? I says, the kids are doing these Snapchats and they're keeping their streaks going. So when one kid goes to the bathroom and takes a sexy picture or takes whatever picture, they're all commenting and putting the streaks. So now the next kid says, oh, can I go to the bathroom? They go to the bathroom. So then they went and they started blocking Snapchat from West Middle School. You know what I got? I DJ football games for Pop Warner here. I had a couple of parents come up to me. You know what they called me? Oh, man, you a snitch.
Oh, come on now.
Because you got phones taken. Really? I'm no snitch. I'm a parent. And that's what I tell people.
You were parenting.
I'm a parent. So that's what we're dealing with.
Right.
With this, with this society today. We've got this group of parents who just, they're friends before parents. When you and I were younger, I remember my parents telling me, when you leave this house, you never know who we know. Because people used to call. I seen Keith out in the street doing this. And I come home to a butt whooping.
Right.
Today, some parents are just too quick to say, my kid didn't do that.
Well, the parents have become the teens. And to your point, I can remember Mama used to always tell me, don't you embarrass me, boy. And hey, I know what that meant. don't you embarrass me, boy. So, yeah, so I was okay for a while.
Right.
But, I think that, some of the greater issues is that we are labeling kids too easily in public education.
I'm hearing that a lot. Yeah.
And one of the things that I've tried to explain to folks, you got to look at school budgets, and there is money. I'm going to say it. There is money in labeling a lot of these kids. And, when there's dollars associated with them, a lot of them could be on an IEP or something like that unnecessarily. And it could be some of the smartest kids out there. Or a teacher could simply say, just like, our children sometimes are aggressive, but not more aggressive than the other child. And they're labeled as someone that needs to have an IEP around behavioral issues, which is not necessarily true. So, there's a, can I say this on your show? There's kind of an industry in education for kids that look like us. And I think that we have to deal with it. So I'm one that have said, oh, this kid had a fight, we got to suspend him. And I'm like, okay, he had a fight to suspend him. And what happened with the parents? They didn't show up. Well, we need to do something about the parents that didn't show up at the disciplinary hearings and stuff. Or the adult child in the house showing up, pretending that they're the parent. There's a lot of stuff that is going on in our education system that we need to be mindful of. But it starts at home. I hear people, always quoting, it takes a village. Yeah, it takes a village. But you know what? Sometimes it takes a village, but when they're in your home and you're rearing them, you have to tell them wrong and right before they enter into that village. So that's my 2 cents. I don't want to.
So now let's get into this being the Ward 4 City Council.
Yeah.
And let's talk about some of these eyesores that if you get in, you're gonna have to deal with. Ward 4 for the longest time, there has been a lot of businesses. You've got the new Flames in that area.
Yes.
You've got a lot of new restaurants open in that area. But the biggest eyesore that's been in Brockton has been that Kmart Plaza.
Right.
And yes, the person who's held on to that, he didn't want nothing else going there. Market Basket had offered all types of money to go in there. He held it. He didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
That's been an eyesore for so long. A trampoline park went in there.
Correct.
I was happy about that, but then when I went there 2 weeks ago, I went to this trampoline park down there on that side of town, and it was just horrible. It was nasty. It was dirty. I was ashamed to be there. I can't wait till Urban Air opens up at Westgate Mall. But there's a lot of stuff on that side of town that's always been that side of town because the dump made Ward 4 what it is. The dump from Bridgewater and stuff made Ward 4 what it is today. But that's long gone. That's capped off. That's now a solar field and stuff. But for some reason, that stigma has still stayed with Ward 4. Now, the funny thing is that you've got all this empty property, business property over there, but all them Campanellis are selling for $400,000-$500,000. I saw one went for almost $600,000 on that side of town. So the residential side of Ward 4 is doing lovely. It's doing really kind of nice. What do we do about the businesses and getting those businesses in there and getting that Kmart Plaza and stuff to open up and bring more businesses in there?
So listen, I've been the one that has been sounding the alarm for a while regarding that Kmart. Even when Bill was in office, Mayor Carpenter's office was in office. My position has always been clear. We need to take it by eminent domain if necessary. That has been a blight for no reason. And the excuse that, especially us in no real estate, the excuse, well, this guy, the Kmart wants to keep paying rent. Well, okay, if they want to keep paying rent, and this is what concerns me about Brockton. No matter what your position is on the fairgrounds, if we can find $55 million to buy the fairground just like this, and look how the Boston Globe reported it, that it was really a backroom deal. But yet that Kmart Plaza down the street from me, we can't figure out how to buy up that lease. The BRA can buy up that lease and really get that property marketed for redevelopment. We're not thinking outside of the box, depending upon who's involved in terms of the politics and where it's located in the city of Brockton. And if you think that I'm wrong, we'll sit around and reelect this councilor. And 2 years from now, we'll still be having this conversation. And when we talk about the blight in Ward 4, we just had a junk license renewed and approved right across the street from the Gilmore School. It's like craziness what's going on in our city. The kids leave out the Gilmore. Right in front is tractors that have been broken down or are being worked on. They see broken gates and all that. And then they make that right turn on the left. This is what they've seen for the last few years. This is where a city councilor says, if that is there legally, which it is, then they have to figure out how to do a facelift so the students don't see that sort of machinery debris as they're leaving the school system. We get a beautiful playground to the left of the Gilmore School, yet and still, when you leave out there, you see basically a junkyard.
Right, and that I know exactly what you're talking about. And some of these
I don't want to
places,
mention his name because some people like him, and that's fine. You can love this guy.
But you know, but the thing is I'm certified in EMS, environmental management systems. I've worked at the MBTA for 23 years, and then now I'm up at Logan Airport. So I know about environmental management systems and what people's fence lines should look like and what fence lines should have in place. I know all that stuff, and I know. Sometimes here's the thing, some people's businesses here in Brockton are grandfathered because they're so old.
Right.
So when somebody buys it and takes it over, the new place will fall under all that new stuff and have to clean it up. Because he's been there for so long, for so many years, he's allowed to do what he does because he's grandfathered in on a lot of things. But there's still some things there that you could go there and check him on and make sure he's doing good. You could say, hey, certain things are unsafe. And kind of bring that up. You could bring all that up, but like I said, that Ward 4, like I said, it's been like you said. If you take that Kmart, so on the backside of Kmart, that used to be Skyview Drive-In Theater, which they turned into a 55+ trailer park for elderly people, and it's packed. It's packed. You could realistically go down there, take that by eminent domain, and say, hey, we want to expand and put more 55 resident housing here. Expand it all the way out to Main Street.
Our tax space and increase. Think outside the box.
Yeah, because you've already got a Family Dollar there. You've got some stuff that those elderly people will. You do have a supermarket that's ethnic up on the right hand side in the 1666 Liquors that's been there forever. Yes. You've got some car companies that have now taken over in there, and there's a good business. But like I said, there's been some blight. But you've got some big businesses down in that area.
Listen, Ward 4 has a lot of potential, and one of the things that I've said, so goes Ward 4, so goes the rest of the city of Brockton. I mean, so there's opportunity there, especially when you come around a Leiden Street, South Leiden, and all. There's so much opportunity for development in Ward 4. I'm not sure why it's not. Fast track. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I know, living here for 14 years, that I've seen so many reports that have come out of economic development and the BRA regarding, but there's never anything that is implemented. One of the things that they've just mentioned is that coming up Plain Street, so you have Keith Park, the gas station, and you come up Plain Street. They're thinking about extending out Keith Park, closing that off and making a dead end. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I'm going to tell you, them fuel trucks that are flying up that street and all those cars, we probably want them to keep on exiting versus trying to take a right turn and increasing the traffic on Montello. But again, I don't know why things aren't fast tracked in Ward 4 or any other part of the city. Hey, how long have we talked about two-way traffic on Main? I mean, up there. I mean, how many studies have been done? Hundreds of thousands of dollars of study. So I'm frustrated. I see the role as oversight because a lot of questions have to be asked. One of the things that, in terms of public safety, I don't remember the last time I've seen the public safety subcommittee that does stuff like other towns do. They ask for ComStats. They ask the chief of police, what's going on in this area. One of the biggest problems that I'm having at Campello Station, I'm within the earshot of it, is every night the burning rubber and the road racing at Campello Station. They have put up barriers there, but let me tell you what happened. I went up there and I talked to the MBTA cop that was up there one night. He said he's the only one in southeastern Massachusetts, and he says that they have to be able to share this responsibility with the Brockton police. But then I talked to Chief Perez, and she immediately tells me, no, it's the MBTA's property. And I'm like, what? But Brenda, can you all figure, Chief Perez, can you all figure it out? Can it be a task force?
Right.
So listen, Keith, I'm not one to, it was fine having the helicopters and the state police. It looked like MASH coming up in here a few weeks ago. We had so many. Man, I saw the state police. Listen, I was like, oh my God, thank God. And back in the day with warrants, because I was like, I mean, they were. Man, have you seen the trailer?
Yeah, and it's funny that the T cop would tell you that, because here's the funny thing: the T police and Braintree police got into a big brawl over a railroad crossing detail. I want to say about 2-3 years ago. Big brawl, big brawl. So even though this T cop could tell you, well, we could share this with the Brockton police, but I'll tell you, there'll be other T police who may come down there and not be happy with that, despite, because that T property is that T property. And the burning rubber and all that stuff. Yeah, it's craziness. And I had Jed Horesco on this show. He had talked about trying to get these kids together that are, they're trying to do all this stuff. And I let them know that Brockton had a couple of bad tragedies when we tried to, have Brockton this hot rod city.
Yeah, because they were actually chasing them. Yeah, and they cut that. I forgot the chief that cut that out. But yeah, when I remember that story, because there's their policy not to chase them. But for the kids and these are, let me be really clear, these are really young adults that are burning rubber all night. I don't know why no one's looking for them. But I do know this, is that now that they put up that barricade, that's fine. They can't escape, but they're still not chasing them. They're still just burning rubber, and that's it. There's no citations or anything that are being issued. So that kind of bothers me, because that noise is all. I'm telling you, anybody that's over here will tell you, it's all
I know.
Night, all night.
Yep.
It's unceasing. And then the other issue that I've talked a little bit about, in terms of oversight, I would love to see Brockton go to a precinct sort of setup, whereas the officers assigned to the sectors really are assigned, say it would be a sector Campello, and the precincts are put in here so we can get to know the police officers, and they will understand what our needs are in the community. Some consistent policing, breaking down into precincts. I don't know if
they did have that before, because
what happened?
I don't know what happened, but a while back on the east side here, you went to Price Right, and they had a little precinct set up inside of Price Right. If you went on the west side, it was set up inside, I want to say, the Price Right there. If you were on the south side, I believe it was in Shaw's, and each side did have its own little community policing. I forget why that went away, but it was nice. It was nice.
Yes.
It was also one of those places where you could drop off an anonymous tip.
Yes.
And things of that sort. So Brockton,
we need a drop a dime model here. Yeah.
We did have that stuff. Yeah. We did have the drop a dime. The reason why you don't see a lot of people dropping the dime no more is because social media has blown up to the point where a lot of these people can now get threatened and stuff, because people are putting that info out there now, and that's why people are so scared to drop a dime and harassment. But I really want to thank you for coming on here again. November 7th.
Thank you for having me.
No, November 7th is coming up. I know a lot of people that are watching this show, they're going to be in the chat, and I know a lot of people are going to ask about other questions and things. I'm here to focus on the person, who they're running, and what they can do for us. I'm not here to, to do what I need to do, unless they ask for it. But, I like to be fair. Mr. Branch, I wanted him to come on this show and let us know what he wants to do with Ward 4, what his ideas are. And as we know, I mentioned those blights, those areas, and what kind of needs to be done. And I see you
very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, just very quickly. I just wanted to mention to folks that they may have heard me some of my speeches around the Brockton Housing Authority. I will be seeking an ordinance and home rule petition to have the Brockton Housing Authority reorganized and placed squarely under the office of the mayor. And the reason why I want to do this, I think that they have for years have been really too slow in the application of the renovation. One of the examples is Campello Towers. I'm not sure why these apartments have not been renovated. The physical plan outside, the common hallways, routine maintenance around paint jobs, and the elevators, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that there were some proposals out there, but I think that there is time now that we really take control of the public housing. No longer should a mayor say, I'm not going to deal with public housing because that belongs to the authority. We have to stop that.
Well, it belongs to the state, and I actually dealt with that because a few years ago when Bill Carpenter was mayor, we had an issue where they lost power at the Campbell Towers, and somebody had posted on Facebook, and I went down there. It was me, Jacob Tagger, my wife at the time. We provided people with water. We helped Mr. Carpenter, and at that time, Steve Hook. We helped out. We got water to people. We went on each floor and got pizza to people. And Campello, and it's weird because Campello Towers, when you look at all the elderly high-rises in this city, Campello Towers has had the bed bug problem. They've had elevator problems. They've had water problems. They have heat problems. Yet BHA for Brockton is a stone's throw away from that building. So I sit here and I say to myself, why is that place have the most problems and they're practically in the backyard of Brockton Housing Authority? It makes no sense.
I say no more.
It makes no sense. While we sit here and we see Plymouth Street projects get rehabbed, Hill Street got a full rehab, Stillman Ave got a rehab, Richmond Street got a rehab, and Campello Towers have yet, because my mother, rest her soul, she was here on the east side at the East Side Towers, where they got money because they put all types of Verizon towers on the roof and got some money from that. But they also got their little work done. Yet Campello Towers has been, again, that blight you talk about in Ward 4. And BHA is a frisbee throw.
Right.
BHA is a frisbee throw away from them. That's the stuff that boggles my mind.
This is what I'm looking to do, to lead Ward 4 forward with our voters, with our residents, because there's work to be had. And my fear is that we keep waiting. We keep waiting. And I said the other day at my fundraiser, it reminds me of the letter from Birmingham jail from Dr. King. He received the same exact criticism as many of us as leaders. When we try to make change, people say it's not the time. And then the time never comes. So the time is now. Thank you for having me.
No problem. How can people follow you and reach you? And please remind them how to get in touch with you and follow you, because Tuesday's the day.
Today's the day. So it's TonyBranchForUs.org. And it's Facebook, Tony Branch for Us on Facebook. So it's TonyBranchForUs.org. I'm sorry, it's a long day. I'm tired. Feel free to email me at cte.tonybranch@gmail.com. 617-755-3530. But I'm pretty public. Everybody knows how to reach me. And really, this is not about me. This is really about us collectively. And one of the things I've said, we have to finally be unified in this city because we are the majority.
And before we get out of here, sometimes I like to make people laugh before we get out of here. But if you look at Bishop Tony Branch's picture right there, I'm looking at that picture that reminds me of BT Sunday mornings when you had church on All Day Sunday, and each minister would have their show on Sunday on BT. Look at Tony Branch's picture right there. He looked like, come see Tony Branch on BT at 11 a.m. Come see the choir.
Hey, listen, that's why we chose the right picture, man.
Miss Johnson's going to bring the collard greens and the cornbread. Can we have Sister Mary come up here? Can we have Sister Mary come up here and lead the congregation for this BET event?
Come on now. Oh, so you know about church. hey, Keith, I say church. Church, you know about
Man, look, my grandmother was Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Mary Johnson. My grandmother So here's a little quick thing before we get out of it. My grandmother was Miss Mary Johnson. We attended Concord Baptist Church in Roxbury. Concord Baptist Church was one of the biggest churches.
Yes.
Concord Baptist Church was one of the first churches to cut an album that was on sale. My mother was in the choir. Concord Baptist Church with Donna Gaines, who ended up becoming Donna Summer. Concord Baptist Church. Sundays, my grandmother, we would go to church on Sunday at 5:30 in the morning. We'd be there till 4 because my grandmother was Miss Mary with the hats. She was part of the team that cooked breakfast for everybody. She cooked the lunch for everybody. She cooked dinner for everybody. So church on Sunday for us was from 6 in the morning to 4 o'clock at night. And you remember the holiday, remember the Black Holiday Children's Day? Where you would go to church and you had to write something and read it on Children's Day?
Right. You don't do that? Hey, they don't do that anymore. They don't do that anymore.
You knew you was going to. You knew if you did well, you was going to Woolworths and get something.
That's right. Oh Lord, have mercy. Yes, indeed. Those were the days. Hey, wait a minute. And Robel's was still open.
That's right.
We give away our age. Robel's was still open.
Yep. Children's Day. Somebody's gonna look at this and they'll be like, "What are they talking about? Children's Day? That was a holiday." That was a black holiday like Juneteenth. Children's Day at church.
Yeah. I'm sad because, in a large extent, really kids are connected to faith now only during funerals. It's, it's changed dramatically, and you know that.
Yeah, it is. I remember, to be honest, when I was 11 years old and I decided to get baptized, and I remember my grandmother's face, and I knew that this was something big,
really
decide
big.
to be baptized.
Yeah.
And my grandmother, she was Miss Johnson. And I remember she took me down to Allen's Tuxedo on Blue Hill Ave.
You better stop.
To get my suit. you know that spot, right? That's where you drove all the way into Boston to get your suit.
That's right.
Allen's Tuxedo on Blue Hill Ave. So, man, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Nice.
And
I want
blessings
to thank everybody.
to you and yours.
No, and I want to thank everybody for tuning into the booth. Great stuff here. I got a few more politicians reaching out that they're going to get on here. But again, November 7th. Vote. We need more than that 8 measly percent, people. We need more than 8. We need more than 8. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Mr. Branch, Mr. Stanton, thank you for coming on the show. It's your boy, Sinista1. We are out of here. Peace.
Bye-bye. Blessings.
All right, we're back here in the booth broadcasting live. I got to thank these guys for coming on the show, Matt Stanton and Bishop Tony Branch. Thank you for coming on here, Tony Branch. Good time, good interviews. November 7th is the election, and it's time. I want to thank, actually, we got a lot of people are in the chat. Also, Michelle Henson in the chat. Travis Partington, he just got done doing his show, Oscar Mike Radio. He's got a big announcement that's going to be coming up for his show, and I'm actually looking in my chat right now. I just want to make sure I shout everybody out that needs to be shouted out who's supporting the show before I make this announcement, because I had to go down and I spoke with this person to lock down this event. So this is taking place on Sunday. This event will take place on Sunday, and it's something that I've wanted to do in the city of Brockton for elections, and I'm going to just unveil the first part of it now, and here we go. Vote 48 will take place at Gigi's Pub November 5th, this Sunday, beginning at 4 p.m. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the show, First 48. First 48 is a show where if a murder is committed, they know they have 48 hours to catch the killer. Okay? So this Vote 48 is kind of a take on that. And here's how I'm going to explain it. Vote 48 will always take place the Sunday before election, 48 hours before the November Tuesday. Why is Vote 48 significant? Because 48 hours before the election, most of us who have knowledge of the election and who's running and who we should vote for, most of us, like the Michelle Hensons, the Jacob Taggers, the Angel Cosmes, most of us who follow politics and know politics, the Kevin Tachis, all of us people from Brockton, we know who we're going in to vote for on Tuesday. Most of us know. That 48 hours outside of Tuesday are the uninformed, the misinformed, the undecideds. 48 hours are those people. Vote 48 on Sunday is a chance for every politician that's going to be running on Tuesday and looking for votes on Tuesday. Vote 48. And I'm hoping for this to become big. And I have a feeling that I think that this has a very good chance to become big for the city of Brockton. Somebody has always said we need to think about the box. Like I said, I'm not happy with 8% of the people turning out to vote in the city of Brockton. We need something to spur more voters. Well, the reason why I'm choosing this event that I've decided to create, Vote 48, Vote 48 is going to reach out to that undecided, those people who don't know who they're voting for yet. And this is what's going to happen in Vote 48, because in Brockton voting history, we've had crucial elections decided by 1% of the vote. Ollie Spears, Ward 5, he lost by 4 votes one year. Jimmy Pereira, if I'm not mistaken, 400 votes one year. There's been a lot of elections through the years that you could say could have been decided by a swing vote or an undecided vote. And this is why I'm going ahead and starting this event, which would take place yearly, beginning this Sunday. I know it's a short notice. I know this is something I got together, but I wanted to make sure that if I was going to put something out there in regards to the city of Brockton in the election, I wanted it to be something that was game-changing, something that's going to make people think about this election, and something that's going to spur more than 8% of people coming out and voting. Vote 48. What's going to happen in Vote 48? And let me just show you right here what Vote 48 is going to do. Thank you, Ellie Texera. Thank you, Cynthia. I'm going to explain this. And I've already talked to some politicians, and they love it. They're on it. Vote 48 is this. Everybody who's running for a seat on Tuesday, you're going to have, and it's going to be timed, you're going to have a certain amount of minutes to tell people why they should vote for you. And remember, you're speaking to the undecided. You're speaking to the fence people. You're speaking to those, like I said, those who are 48 hours out, who don't know who they think they're going to vote for. If you're school committee or ward counselor or an at-large counselor, you're going to have 7 minutes timed. 7 minutes. 7 minutes doesn't mean 7 minutes and 1 second. It doesn't mean 7 minutes and 5 seconds. It means 7 minutes. I'm going to hold people accountable. This is going to be timed. 7 minutes is what you get. The mayors, if they show up, each mayor will get 10 minutes to speak and tell people why they should vote for them in 10 minutes. There will be no questions asked of any of these people who are running for a seat or office. There'll be no questions, because you've had, literally since September, months to ask these candidates your questions. You've had months to answer and ask questions. So, this is your final push 48 hours before the election to swing possible votes. Now, guess what? The way I look at this is that not only can you grab a swing vote, you could probably come out and give the best 7-minute speech about what you want to do for this city in 7 minutes to where you may swing a vote your way, or several votes your way, because you may have spoke better than somebody else's. As a constituent, you know, this could also be a thing where if you are a school committee member, or a city, a council at large member, and if you are running and you have your supporters, vote 48. You know what vote 48 is going to turn into for you? I need my supporters there. Why? Because when you give your 7 minutes, and if that house is packed with your supporters, that's also going to look good on your behalf. Because if your supporter base is there at vote 48, that's going to speak volumes. Now, some people are already saying, well, you know, some people, and I'm not going to say names, some people are saying that, well, we got a lot of people that are also running unopposed. They're not showing up. Guess what? I've watched a lot of politics, and you go ahead. You don't have, if you're feeling you're unopposed and you don't have to show up and you don't have to take your 7 minutes, that's fine. But guess what? If you're running unopposed and you don't show up, and then the next time an election comes around and you have somebody running against you, guess what? There are some people who may remember the vote 48 from the previous year and be like, well, he or she didn't even show up for this event last year because they were so sure that they got, because they got their seat unopposed. I'm voting for this other person next time. And this is how I'm just explaining how things can happen. So even though you're running unopposed, you may want to say, you know what? Let me take my 7 minutes and let me tell people what I'm going to do for this upcoming term for them in my 7 minutes. Again, make it work for you. Ellie Texera, I know you're running. I'd love to see you come through on Sunday. This event is going to begin at 4 o'clock. I'm just going to let everybody know right now, there's no fluff, there's no music and all this stuff that you might think. This is about the election. This is about your best 7 minutes, and for the mayor, the best 10 minutes. I'm trying to get this event done. I timed it out, and I'm trying to get this event done in 3 to 4 hours. By the time that I figured out the time of each person, it could go quicker if people don't show up. And like I said, it's going to be timed. I feel like this is a game changer for the city of Brockton. I feel like that this event has a chance to be the event that everybody will look forward to every election. Yeah, you can have your debates. Yeah, you can have meet the committee members. Yeah, you can have meet the ward members here and there. I feel like this is an event that a lot of people are going to say, okay, I want to go and wait and see what's going to happen at vote 48. I want this to be this. I want this to be the benchmark. Not just the benchmark for Brockton, but thinking outside the box. I want this to become something across the country. Every Sunday, I'd love to see across the country something like this that we started here in Brockton. Vote 48. I'd like to see this nationwide. So every Sunday in countries across America, Brockton started this. We started this. This is something to get people off their butts and to vote. To vote. 8% isn't what, it's not something to smile about, Brockton. It's not. And I'm speaking from the heart on this, and I'm really putting my heart behind it. I've already talked to several politicians already, and I'm going to get an email out to every politician to make sure they know, to make sure that they're aware, to make sure to come through, so they can't say, I wasn't invited, I didn't get to come. But again, just as an example, Mayor Sullivan, he won the prelims by pretty much kind of a landslide. But again, if Mayor Sullivan doesn't show up, but Fred Fontaine does and he speaks, guess what? That could be some votes that, boom, swings his way come Tuesday. And if you're in a tight race, you don't want to play around with that. So I want everybody to know that this is going to be the benchmark. I want this to be something that other communities do nationwide. The Sunday before Tuesday's election, vote 48. Now, I picked a location that a lot of people are probably going to say, well, Gigi's Pub. Why did he pick Gigi's Pub? Why did I pick Gigi's Pub? And there's a reason why, and this is also strategic. Every year, it's the same places. And there's no disrespect. People are comfortable in their ways in the city of Brockton. We pick the Tin Rays. We pick the Joe Angelos. We pick the Doyles. We pick all of these spots year after year after year after year. I get it. I get it. These are places that people are familiar with. But like El Texera and some other people, they went outside the box. Taste of Brazil. You went to them. Taste of Brazil is a brand new business. Now you come here, you do your speaking engagement and fundraiser there. You help boost the new business. Gigi's Pub is a place that's had some stigma attached to it, but it's a beautiful place inside. It's a great location. It's got a lot of parking. Let's change that thought process for long-term Brockton business owners who've been here in this city. The people like Gigi's Pub, the people like Home Cafes, all of these other businesses that haven't really gotten much shine in this city, but have been here, they've been paying their dues, they've been paying their taxes. So Gigi's Pub is going to be the first location for this event for the first time. And I don't want people saying, look, it's 4 p.m. Come on through. You got Me King on the right. You got Stella's Pizza on the left. There's plenty of food that you can order and have there. There's beverages. The Pats game will be just ending, so if you show up a little bit early, 4 p.m. is going to kick off. 4 p.m., and I'm just letting you know. I'm a stickler. I'm a DJ. I do shows. 4 p.m. is kickoff. It's kicking off at 4 p.m. The first person will speak at 4 p.m. I've got a list already. School committee starts first. School committee starts first. Each member that's running for school committee will get 7 minutes. After the school committee, it will be the ward councilor's time. Each of them will get 7 minutes. After the ward committee will be the at-larges, 7 minutes. And then the two mayors will have their time, 10 minutes. Again, no questions, timed. Put your best 7 minutes together if you're not the mayor or running for mayor. Again, this is going to take place November 5th, Gigi's Pub, vote 48. I want this to be a nation trendsetter that people can look back and say, hey, this started in the city of Brockton. This also brought this many votes on Tuesday. I want this to be something very positive. And I would love to see everybody turn out and take their time and speak. And again, if you have your supporters, this is going to be, like I said, this is going to be that event. You're going to want your supporters to come and be on it. So, again, vote 48, Gigi's Pub, November 5th, 2023, 4 p.m. sharp. I'm going to be there. I'm going to have all my stuff hooked up. Everything's going to be set to go. People can come in 3:30, but 4 p.m., I'm calling that first person up to speak 7 minutes. When that person's done, I'm going to allow some time for applause, but then we're going to get to the next person on the school committee, 7 minutes. So it's going to be fast. I don't want this to be fluff. I don't want this to be like some get-together. This is very serious. This is very serious. This is the 7 minutes that could determine swing votes, undecideds. And I need everybody to come out, show your support. Vote 48, Gigi's Pub, November 5th. I see Ellie Texera is in there. Thank you, Ellie. She says, exactly why I decided to have my kickoff in the community, in our neighborhood with our supporters and village. Heavy on our community engagement. It was Taste of Brazil. And I had a previous event, but I would have been down there because I love their burger. I love their burger. So again, vote 48, Gigi's Pub, November 5th, 4 p.m. The Patriots game is at 1 against the Washington Commanders, so it should be just kind of winding down so you can stop in. Like I said, Stella's Pizza is next door. Me King is next door. This was put together so fast that if I had a sponsor, I would have made sure we would have had the food and stuff all covered. I talked to Sergio and stuff. He's gonna work hard on some things. I'm not promising anything, but as I said, Stella's Pizza is a staple in the city of Brockton. They're right next door. Grab a sub, grab a pizza, bring it right into Gigi's with you. Gigi's got refreshments there. There's plenty of seating. But again, this is a very important event. And this event will be live streamed. This event will be live streamed on Sunday. So not only are you speaking to the people in attendance, you will be speaking to the people via my YouTube page through Restream and Facebook. So again, Vote 48, Gigi's Pub. Somebody already said, Keith, you better copyright that and trademark that because this could be real serious. And I might be taking that person's suggestion. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show. It was a good night. It was a good time. Again, Vote 48. I'm hoping that I'll be proud come Sunday. I already know of 4 or 5 politicians who've already said, I'm there. Some politicians get it. They realize, like I said, Ollie Spears, 4 votes. Pereira, 400 votes. We've had other people, just barely. I think Linda and Bill Carpenter was kind of close. I want to say Jay Stewart, his election, I want to say Jay Stewart might have been 800 or maybe 1,000 votes when there was the Jay Stewart election, if I'm not my memory correct. So, like I said, Brockton has had some real close elections. So this Vote 48 could be a game changer, not just for Brockton, but other cities and communities across the country. Vote 48. So I'm hoping everybody will come out. Everybody will hang with us. Michelle Henson, everybody, thank you for tuning in the show. I got to get an email out to everybody. It's 9:43, so I think I'll get that email out actually tomorrow to all the politicians. But please, if you're a politician, if you're running, spread the word. Share this link. Share this link to this show. And just let them know it's coming. The email is coming to everybody. Everybody's invited. Everybody is invited who is running for a seat. Everybody. If you come, you come. If you don't, that it's whatever. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in the show. I know it's 9:43. I'm not going to go to the top of the hour because I needed to get out what I had to get out. So what I'm going to say is I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And SpongeBob, do me a favor. Take us home.
See you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to The Booth on Hoobazoo and HatcherRadio.com. Please follow the Facebook page and subscribe to the podcast at Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Booth is a Sinista1 production hosted by Sinista1.
I've got to start hanging out with friends that are a little more intelligent and understand politics and stuff. It's just that I'm up on this level up here, and all my friends are down here. Me, nah. You guys, nah. Maybe a little more down in here. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I smoke, I drink, I do my thing. These bitches hating, so you know I got to make it plain. Don't do cocaine, but your chick, my main. We stick together, true forever, yeah, you know we bang. I miss those days, which was easy. If only I made it, bitch, don't repeat. Now that I done upgraded, I've been upstate, and y'all think I'm playing. And I got a hit now for these weak ass hoes who think I ain't slaying. Try me, and I'll probably end up laughing, cause I never back down. I'm that chick with a clean ass whip, I don't need that shit, I got my own now. I get hurt, I get tired of fussing, fighting, guess I gotta crack down. Don't mess with me, cause on everything, I'ma have to bring the whole city out.
WHOOBAZOO, that's Hoobazoo.com.
Enter website.